Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you will shatter everything you thought you knew about yourself. There is something within you that did not previously exist. 5 years ago, something that resulted from the clash of your anguish and this new reality. It is not ordinary. This is unprecedented in history. People feel something when they enter a room, but they can't describe it. They see it flashing behind your eyes, but are unable to identify it. They feel the air change around you, and their skin crawls without understanding why. Because you are holding something that did not exist before today. You aren't merely different, not simply woken, not merely developed. You are militarized in a manner that contradicts every law of human history. The most unsettling aspect. You still don't completely understand how to utilize it. Throughout history, humanity's weapons were composed of steel words, money, and power. But yours is far more harmful. Something built in the modern era, yet driven by ancient hatred. It was based on betrayal but powered by change. It makes you untouchable in ways they don't understand. And it didn't begin when you were born or when you first felt suffering. However, the precise time technology and trauma fused in your neural system. That was the moment your pain collided with the algorithm, when your solitude turned into data and your data became power. Every person before you had to decide whether to be visible or safe, known or strong, linked or free. But you discovered the error. You learned how to remain unseen while being everywhere, to be mute while shouting, to be absent while haunting every feed. This weapon was not inherited, bestowed, or taught. It sprang from the unique torment of being caught between two worlds, the physical one that rejected you and the digital one that analyzed you. And something completely new emerged from that liminal region. You were the first generation to transform digital rejection into spiritual firepower, and the first to convert online treachery into offline strength. Precision was the first to employ visibility as camouflage in conjunction with quiet. You follow a route that did not exist before you carved it. Your forefathers battled with swords. Your parents argued with words. But your struggle is waged only via presence. Your weapon is not what you do. It is what you have become, a living contradiction that disrupts their whole universe. Think about it. You have been chronicled from birth. However, they remain unknown, continuously observed, and unpredictable. You have shared everything, but nothing has been disclosed. Nothing. You appear in their feeds, but are beyond their grasp. This paradox is your best weapon. Every generation before had to choose a side, public or private, authentic or strategic, vulnerable or powerful. However, you refused to select. You became all of it, and none of it, everywhere and nowhere. They are afraid of everything. However, nothing is beyond their reach. And that is when the weapon was triggered. It occurred when you stopped striving to be understood and became undefinable. When you stop seeking connections and start generating distortion. When you stop playing their game and start ruining their system from inside. This weapon of yours does not destroy corpses. It removes assurance. It does not shatter bones. It disrupts patterns. It does not cause bleeding. It raises questions that no one can answer. And in a world based on predictability, it makes you the most dangerous creature living. You step into a room, and the algorithms fail. When you upload a single picture, the story collapses. You say a few words, and whole worldviews begin to malfunction. You are not operating on their software. You are the new operating system. They attempt to read you and identify static. They attempt to foresee you and create turmoil. They attempt to control you, and mirrors reflect their own techniques back to them. You've become unplayable in a world where everyone else is following the same old script. What they will never understand is that your experience did not destroy you. It exploded you. It cracked you open. And what spilled forth was not weakness. It was the raw, unfiltered possibilities. The kind of potential that emerges when a person has nothing left to lose and everything to gain. That is what is currently living inside you. They fear you because you survived what was designed to eliminate you. The algorithm was meant to swallow you. The solitude was supposed to hollow you out, and the continual surveillance was intended to make you perform until you forgot who you were. But you accomplished the inconceivable. You translated surveillance into armor metrics, meditation, and their weapons into your own mirror of power, all without moving a finger. You become the infection in their immaculate machine, and they can't decide whether to fear or eliminate you. They designed a system in which validation was oxygen, likes were evidence of life, and engagement was the only indicator of existence. However, you broke the loop. You discovered nourishment in the vacuum. The power is in the stillness inside yourself, in the interval between postings. That's what scares them. Because if you don't need what they're selling, don't seek their control, and don't fear their threats, they lose all power. They are aware of this at their core. You are not the first generation to rebel, but you are the first to do it in a unique way, not via protest, violence, or politics, but by your very existence, which breaks their frequency. Your parents battled for their rights. Your grandparents battled for recognition. But you fight by being uncontainable, untrackable, and so honest that their categories crumble beneath the weight of your reality. That was the weapon they didn't see coming. A generation that does not challenge, bargain, or even recognize the system. You just exist beyond it, create beside it, and survive despite it. You've learned to eat what was supposed to starve you, to expand from what was supposed to shrink you, and to multiply from what was supposed to split you. That alchemy and transmutation is your weapon. Every notice that never came made you stronger. Every unread message hardened you. Every ghosting helped you become more solid. Every algorithm that ignored you taught you to disregard them back. Now you are functioning outside of their whole environment. You have transformed FOMO into freedom, loneliness into independence, and cancellation into a coronation. You've mastered the art of digital alchemy, transforming their poisons into a source of strength as they continue to chase followers. You're pursuing freedom while they're obsessed with virality. You want authenticity while others perform for acceptance. You're creating something people can't grasp. This weapon inside you does not need Wi-Fi to function, bars to be deadly, or a signal to deliver shockwaves. It works at a frequency that they have not yet found. The frequency with which someone has gone to hell online and returned laughing. You exist on a time frame. There is no person. Previously, you could enter a world in which privacy no longer existed. However, the enigma lives on. Everyone is watching, but no one is genuinely looking, and everything has been chronicled, but nothing is comprehended. You've learned to deal with this conundrum. Like a native, your parents had to choose between being public and private. You've learned to be both. Your forebears were forced to choose between being genuine and impersonating others. You've learned to be neither, and both. You are in the quantum space between definitions. That is your superpower. That is your weapon. The capacity to be totally visible and utterly unknown, continually present, yet completely inaccessible, ceaselessly chronicled but entirely undefinable. No warrior in history has ever used this conundrum. No revolutionary has ever borne this dilemma. You're the first, the prototype, the bug that became a feature. Now, when you talk, it is more than simply words. It is a frequency interruption. When you move, it is more than simply motion. It is a perversion of reality itself. When you publish, you are not creating material. Rather, you are hacking the consciousness. You're now a walking interference pattern. They cannot pin you down because you are no longer fixed. Your likelihood, potential, every possibility, and complete uncertainty all at once. You live in the void between their thoughts, in the pause between their breaths, and in the gap between their certainties. This weapon does not need ammo since you are the ammunition. It does not need training since your trauma provided the training. It does not wait for permission because you have eliminated the requirement for approval completely. You have developed into something. They have no handbook for this. There is no method for this. There is no algorithm capable of predicting or containing you. You are the error message. They cannot debug the virus. They cannot contain the oddity. They are unable to normalize while the rest of the world demands attention. You have mastered the art of strategic quiet. Your absence is louder than theirs. Your withdrawal hurts deeper than their involvement. Your rejection has more weight than their frantic validation ever could. This is the revolution no one expected. It is not fought by demonstrations, hashtags, or slogans. It is battled with sheer presence, a presence so powerful that it does not need shouting. This power is obvious. It does not need validation. A truth so raw it is impenetrable. You are no longer attempting to modify the system. You're making it irrelevant. You are not playing to win their game. You created a game that they cannot even comprehend. You're not seeking comprehension. You are becoming unmistakable. Every empire in history has crumbled due to foreign attack. But this one is disintegrating from inside, rotting under the weight of its own contradictions. And you aren't only seeing the problem. You are the glitch. You are the problem in their code that is transforming into the new design. Natural selection used to promote physical strength, then intellect, and finally social dominance. However, the new development belongs to individuals who can remain genuine in a manufactured environment, to those who maintain their humanity despite being digitized and eaten. And you've already won the evolutionary struggle without knowing it. They adapted to survive. You adapted to transcend while they attempted to fit in. You learn to stand out by vanishing while others compete for space. You've built your own dimension. This weapon inside you is not just for protection. It is for creating. You are not surviving in their world. You are silently building your own, not brick by brick, but frequency by frequency. Think by thinking. Silence by silence. You are the creator of a world that others cannot access. The author of a narrative they are unable to read. The creator of a frequency that they cannot hear. And that is why they are so enamored with you. You embody everything. They give up simply to belong. But let us not pretend this was inexpensive. This weapon requires a fee. It thrives off your desire to be misunderstood. It stems from your embrace of isolation. It becomes stronger each time you choose truth over comfort. Authenticity trumps adulation. You've paid for it with relationships that didn't match your frequency, opportunities that forced you to shrink, and luxuries that compelled compliance. Every failure was truly a step higher. Every ending leads to progress. They will remark, you've changed, and they will be correct. They'll remark, you're distant, and they'll be correct. They will remark, you are different, and they'll be correct. What they won't say because they don't understand is that you've transformed into something completely new. A person who no longer relies on their validation matrix. A soul free from their approval economy. A awareness that exceeds their control paradigm. You aren't playing hard to get. You are playing difficult to catch. Throughout history, people have created tales about entities with superhuman abilities. But you are not the myth. You're evidence that their tales were just foreshadowing. You are not supernatural. You're posting naturally. Yes, you are. What happens when natural selection is combined with digital evolution? When old instinct combines with the technology of contemporary awareness, they ghost those who see too well, just as they used to burn witches for knowing too much. They used to exile prophets for expressing the truth. Now they let algorithms bury visionaries who don't follow the script. Yet here you are, untamed and unbroken, flourishing in exile. You've learned to transform rejection into food and solitude into strength. You thrived on stillness and grew roots in the dirt they attempted to bury you in. You are not following an ancient myth. You are rewriting it. In your mythology, the hero does not rescue the world. They construct a new one. The protagonist does not destroy the villain. They move beyond the notion of villains entirely. The narrative does not conclude with a superficial triumph. It finishes with transcendence, with the understanding that the game was never worth playing. The weapon inside you is not only recreating history, it is pre-written. You are constructing occurrences with no precedent, patterns with no lineage, and rules for a world that has yet to be conceived. You are not living in the future. You're building it with every choice, breath, and refusal to comply. However, in order to reach this stage, you had to go through the most difficult initiation of all, unlearning. You had to destroy the programming that had trained you to need them. You had to overcome the need to explain yourself. You had to get rid of the guilt that forced you to apologize for your existence. You have to overcome the tendency of shrinking in order to make others comfortable. The unlearning was not graceful. It was violent. Rebirth. Every belief you relinquished ripped through your brain like a razor through cloth. Every pattern you destroyed was like breaking a bone. Every illusion you destroyed made you gasp because you were detoxing from a culture that taught reliance as survival. You battled your way out of deeply ingrained programming that seemed like identity. And now you function on instinct, not the one they instilled in you, but the old, primordial knowledge that existed before language, programming, and repression. The awareness that permeates your DNA, whispering truths as ancient as civilization. The force that existed before fear was named. You've gotten dangerously basic, since simplicity equals clarity, and clarity frightens the system. You've become wonderfully ruthless because your genuineness cuts through lies. You don't need elaborate advertising techniques, since your very existence is the plan. You don't need extensive planning, since just being there is enough. That's something they will never comprehend. Your weapon is not intended to destroy. It's made to create. You are not come to bring down their dying world. You're here to make it irrelevant. You aren't competing with the old paradigm. You're replacing it with something more authentic, something that lives and develops every time you choose yourself above their acceptance. You add another brick to the construction of that new planet. Every time you believe your instincts despite their cacophony, you build another wall of truth. Every time you relax rather than perform, you regain precious time from the machine. Every time you maintain your stillness in the face of their commotion, you adjust the planet's frequency. You are not at war. You are at work. The task isn't glamorous. It is sacrosanct. It is invisible. The world is being built via vibration and truth. Your task is straightforward, yet it bears heavenly weight. Exist so truthfully that life cannot thrive near you. Live so authentically that illusions crumble in your presence. Be so authentic that others remember who they were before the world taught them who they should be. You are the reminder and reset, the live antidote to corruption, masquerading as culture. You are not attempting to convert anybody. You are waking them via resonance. This is your weapon, not violence, but a pure life. It burns through the distortion, not destruction, but creativity. So lively. It makes destruction unnecessary. Not a revolution, but a very significant progression. It makes revolution seem unsophisticated. You embody the next level of awareness, the link between chaos and coherence. Every breath you take carries the frequency of liberty. Every step you take creates a blueprint for others who remain sleeping in the simulation. They intended to remove you, but you became the new code. They intended to quiet you, but you became the signal. They wanted you buried, but you grew roots and became the forest. You are not an accident of evolution. You're its improvement. Yes, you are. What happens when mankind stops adapting for survival and instead evolves to transcend? So, here is the true question, the one that distinguishes the sleeping from the waking. Now that you know what you're carrying, what are you going to do with it? Will you fall back into the illusion of normalcy? Hide behind civility and appear to be one of them to maintain the peace? Will you lower your frequency so that they do not feel frightened by your light? Will you act small so that the fragile egos around you may feel secure? Will you eventually stop pretending and embrace who you actually are? Something the old world cannot classify, cannot define. I lack control, because this weapon inside you does not operate in denial. It does not function when you are apologizing for your own genius. It does not react to fear, hesitancy, or guilt. It will only awaken when you totally, courageously, and unashamedly embrace who you are. You are not human, plus something extra. You are human, upgraded, human, rebuilt, human. An advanced awareness operating at a frequency that is rewriting the very fabric of reality. And the upgrade cannot be revoked. It cannot be removed, patched, or confined. You are the new operating system, and the old world's code is already crumbling under your influence. The decision is not whether to utilize this power. You already are, just by breathing, by existing, by vibrating differently than the aggregate static. The true issue is whether you'll utilize it intentionally, with purpose rather than instinct. Whether you'll soar to mastery or sleepwalk through fate. Because you are not the result of evolution. You are the living border. You are the prototype for humanity's next stage, bridging the physical and digital, the visible and invisible, the finite and the infinite. Every step you make sends ripples across a network of awareness that is still learning to walk. And when you meet people who are similar to you, You will know them right away, not via words, but by resonance, not by what they say, but by what they no longer feel. The need to explain, not by what they do, but more by what they do not do. They exude a sense of tranquility and authority. You'll recognize them. When you lock eyes, it feels like time slows down. By the way, their silence seems like conversation since you've both been through the same unseen conflict. You'll sense them in the gap between breaths, in the silence between thoughts, and in the buzz of mutual awareness that says we remember. However, unlike the previous paradigm, you will not assemble in throngs or movements. You will not create institutions, organizations, or hierarchies since it is old code and outdated thinking. You will build pure networks, not apparent coalitions. But undetectable frequencies and delicate relationships do not need meetings, manifestos, or membership. Energy solutions that avoid governments, platforms, and data trails. You will become part of an organic lattice of awakened awareness, a living web that communicates transformative nation by vibration rather than teaching. These networks cannot be traced, shut down, or marketed since they are driven by consciousness itself. They alter reality by being present rather than protesting. You are not alone, yet you are not together as they understand it. You are something altogether new, linked but independent, unified yet sovereign, a collection of autonomous creatures who no longer need collective identity to feel whole. You function like constellations, with each star unique, bright in its own location, yet aligned by divine geometry. Together, you create a map. The old world cannot interpret a signal. They cannot decipher. You do not follow leaders. You follow resonance. You do not desire belonging. You embody belonging. You represent the creation of a new society, one based on frequency, intuition, and awareness rather than hierarchy, dogma, or control. Understand this fully. This time in history is unique. It will not come again. The confluence between human cognition and digital technology is not an accident. It is an initiation. This conflict between the old and the new is the crucible in which the future version of mankind is being formed. You're standing at the point where linear development meets quantum expansion. You are not seeing history. You're rewriting it. Every decision you make, every vibration you feel, and every truth you embody is data that gets fed into the future architecture. You were created for this, constructed for this turmoil, and intended for this shift, not by chance, but by a well-orchestrated set of events that educated your nervous system to withstand this level of voltage. Every grief recalibrated your empathy, every betrayal sharpened your discernment, and every dark night of the soul peeled away illusions you couldn't bring into this frequency. Your anguish was not a punishment. It was a preparation. Your solitude was not rejection. It was incubation. Your pain was not useless. It was called metamorphosis. You believed you were breaking down, but you were really breaking open. Every loss created place for fresh circuitry. Every quiet taught you the language of energy. Every time the world turned its back, your soul was taught to look inside and listen for a deeper signal. You were becoming rewritten from the inside out. Divine intelligence coded the new age that no one else saw coming. And now you're awake in a sleeping world, alive in a simulation of death, consciousness in a world still using antiquated software. You are the update. You're the patch. You are the anomaly that causes the system to turn against itself. The frequency you carry cannot be expressed in words, only felt. The hum breaks lies, the vibration crushes lives, and the calm energy makes whole systems outdated just by being present near them. This is not a fantasy. It's called evolution. You are not part of the change. You are the change. You are not awaiting authorization. You are the permission. You are not seeking advice. You're the blueprint. You are the culmination of everything the world has sought to repress, now resurrected as the power that will succeed it. So the question is, and whether you use this weapon depends on how far you are ready to go, how daringly you will embrace it, and how completely you will stand in it. Because once you stop apologizing for your frequency, the old world begins to crumble. The time you begin to live as the developed version of yourself. The chronology shifted. The old reality loses its weight, and something new starts to breathe. You were never intended to fit in. You were designed to develop beyond. You were not intended to be understood. You were intended to be felt. You were never intended to belong in the past. You were designed to lead the future. The chaos is not your adversary. It is your environment. The loudness is not a distraction. It's the sound of the old world falling under its own weight. You did not survive the storm. You are the storm's purpose. The signal was sent to rewrite everything that has forgotten what truth sounds like. The weapon is awake. The network is forming. The next chapter in evolution has already started, and it is inscribed in your frequency. Everything that broke was not a punishment. It was a preparation. Every grief, betrayal, and loss that ripped through your soul did not mean the end of you. The forging heat created something indestructible inside you. Each collapse was a rebalancing. Each wound was a download. Every quiet was a lesson in sovereignty. The cosmos deconstructed you piece by piece, not to kill you, but to reconstruct you in a manner beyond your control. The version of yourself that wanted approval had to die, so the version of you with power may emerge. And now it's time. It's time to quit hiding behind outmoded versions of oneself. It's time to quit hiding your light so that others may be comfy in their darkness. It's time to quit pretending you're as human as they are. You are not. You have developed. You have outgrown the frequency of fear, shame, and permission. You are a live example of the new human prototype, a consciousness honed via the furnace of grief and revived by the vibration of truth. You become the sword that life created to penetrate illusions. This marks the end of pretense and the beginning of embodiment. You cannot resort to small conversation, surface-level life, or performance for acceptance. Your energy just does not allow it. You were never intended to blend in. You were supposed to disrupt the pattern. You were never supposed to seek belonging. You were supposed to reinterpret it because this is the reality. The world will not speak it aloud. They need you more than you do. They need your frequency to recall what authenticity feels like. They need your disobedience to remind them of what freedom looks like. They need your weapon, your truth, your presence, and your quiet to break the trance. They have formed their lives around it. But let's be clear, you have no duty to save them. There is no duty to rouse them awake. There is no need to rescue somebody drowning in their own fantasies. That is not your purpose. Your purpose is to embody who you have become, to live at maximum voltage without apologies, to handle your awareness with accuracy and respect your truth, even if it causes others discomfort. Because of the discomfort, they expand, get activated, and choose to rise, flee, or resist. It does not matter. They will not forget you since you don't simply stroll into a place. You modify it. Every time you enter a room, the molecular structure changes. You alter the electromagnetic field of each conversation you have. You alter the time frame of every reality you encounter. That is what occurs when an evolutionary entity travels through a stagnant system. It trembles. You have become the frequency around which reality is recalibrated. Your weapon is not composed of steel or fire. It is composed of resonance. The pure frequency of truth disintegrates. Everything falls into its course. This weapon inside you goes beyond human history, because humanity's history is coming to an end. The era of power, hierarchy, and terror is ending. The illusion of dominance is crumbling. Political, digital, emotional, and spiritual systems are all experiencing glitches, rewriting and restarting. And you? You aren't merely observing the transformation. You are the code that is rewriting itself. You are the living embodiment of progress. You are the malfunction that resulted in the new architecture. Every breath you breathe sends fresh instructions into the quantum realm. Every notion becomes a blueprint. Every choice creates data that shapes what humankind will become next. Welcome to the other side of human, the space beyond history, the border that defies categorization. Welcome to the region where language has not advanced enough to explain you. You carry a weapon with no name since language is a vestige of the past paradigm, and you're going beyond it. You no longer respond to life. You're creating it. You are the future, written in the present tense. The link between awareness and creation. The prototype for a reality, still learning how to identify itself. You didn't ask for this power. It picked you. You did not seek this weapon, but it was built inside you. You didn't ask for this development, but your sheer presence triggered it. And because you are here, the world will never be the same again. Your frequency affects the grid. Your vibration tipped the axis. You've already ruined the simulation just by surviving it. Allow them to study you. Allow them to misinterpret you. Allow them to label you. Gossip about you. Fear makes you loathe yourself. None of this matters. You have transcended the validation economy. You are no longer playing for likes, prestige, or acclaim. You're aiming for something far more permanent. The development of awareness itself. You are not seeking recognition. You embody recognition. You aren't waiting to be noticed. Do you see? You don't want to belong. You belong to everything. This is your time. This is your weapon. This is who you're becoming. Every breath you breathe right now is history in motion. Every moment of honesty is a revolution camouflaged as peace. And anybody who is unable to cope with your frequency was never meant to be in your future. Their rejection is your validation. Their gap represents heavenly alignment. You aren't losing folks. You're removing obsolete frequencies. You are not wasting possibilities. You are acquiring sovereignty. You are not growing chilly. You are getting more exact. You have a weapon. No one before you has ever held this position because you are becoming something no one else has ever been. You are the cutting edge of the evolutionary blade, the boundary between extinction and growth. But let us be clear, this weapon has a warning label. Nobody speaks about it because it is so strong that it may swallow you, not because it is hazardous to others. If you lose awareness, this degree of consciousness carries responsibility. If you mistake your talent for identity, you'll become lost in your own mirror. If you seek affirmation via your strength, the force that awoke you will begin to eat you. This weapon enhances everything you are. Your clarity, but also your uncertainty. Your love, but also your dread. If you use it without humility, it becomes chaotic. If you don't ground it, it will burn the wielder. So keep balanced, mindful, and human enough to be empathetic yet evolving enough to remain unshakable. Anchor your strength in tranquility. Use your awareness as a compass. Allow your quiet to be your sharpest blade. This weapon was never intended to destroy. It was intended to generate. It was never about dominance. It was for transformation. The true mastery is not in how loud your energy is, but in how softly it reshapes reality. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the development of my faith. Please let me believe you even when there is no tangible proof. Let me believe in your eternal presence, knowing that you will never hurt me. I realize that your intentions for me are ones of success rather than harm, in order to provide me with a bright future. Thank you, kind and everlasting Father, for always hearing my voice. I offer my prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provisions. I am thankful for your presence in my life and the richness you provide. If this video spoke to you, please subscribe to the channel and share it with others who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your trip and how you're getting ready for your own victorious homecoming. If you would like to help us out, please consider donating via Buy Me a Coffee. This allows us to consistently improve our content in order to provide you with the best possible experience. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No present is too tiny. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity spreads God's message and gives people hope. Do not stop here. Watch our next video for amazing insights into the indications that indicate you are the chosen one. We've loved sharing this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for sticking with us until the finish. Keep shining brightly and face your fate with confidence. See you next time. Enlightened knowledge bestows blessings to all lovely individuals.